May the Lord give this council the wisdom, discernment and courage to serve the community. Grant also that we may act compassionately and with integrity in the best interest of this Shire. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I would like to show respect and acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land and elders past, present and future on which this meeting takes place. Thank you, councillors. Okay, councillors, welcome to our February meeting, and those in the gallery. We have a fairly large agenda to get through. So, Mr. General Manager, application for attending meeting by video link.
No, I've received no formal applications, Mr. Mayor.
Neil,
Mr. Mayor, I have received one application from Councillor Flaherty to attend the meeting via Zoom.
Okay, get a question. Does this application, was this application meet the council code of meeting practice? Was it by Mr. GM?
Well, Mr. Mayor, the code of meeting practice requires a written application to be sent to the general manager. I've not received a written application.
Mr. Mayor, I received it via text.
By text message. Okay, Mr. Gentleman, could you just read out the code of meeting practice on audio video?
And that's section 5.2 of the code of meeting practice. 5.20, a request by a councillor for approval to attend a meeting by audio-visual link must be made in writing to the general manager prior to the meeting in question and must provide reasons why the councillor will be prevented from attending the meeting in person. So it's not been in writing and it's not been to the general manager, and I've not seen a reason. So your decision.
Okay, Mr. General Manager, I believe there hasn't been a proper application made. So as the Mayor, I will not be allowing that council to actually Zoom in today. Thank you. Public participation. We've got D02.1 DA127/2022 horse stables complex with auxiliary facilities. I think we've got Mr. David Laghorn and Euron O'Sullivan. David, you have 5 minutes to give your presentation, and you'll hear after 4 minutes. So you'll have 1 minute after that noise. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councillors. My name is David Waghorn. I'm from Planning Ingenuity, and I'm here representing Racing New South Wales on behalf of this development application. Also with me here on my video link is Arun O'Sullivan from Mostyn Copper. They're the project managers for this project, and we'll be here to answer any questions after this brief submission and introduction. Mr. Mayor and councillors, our clients Racing New South Wales are very excited for this opportunity to construct some state-of-the-art facilities, primarily around the construction of training and stabling facilities in Scone, which, as we all know, is widely regarded as the horse capital of Australia. Racing New South Wales are extremely committed to the Hunter region, which is reflected in the provision of this application to create industry best practice horse stables, which are constructed somewhat unusually over 2 stories, but there is a very good reason for that. The reason being that the 2-story configuration is a significant enhancement to the animal welfare by allowing better ventilation, access and facilities for the horses, and also improving the efficiency of the land rather than your typical single-story stable buildings, which take up a very large precinct, very large footprint. This 2-story configuration allows for other ancillary structures to be placed in and around the site on a smaller footprint, and also will allow for enhanced landscaping around the periphery of the site. The proposed development, as you have read in your reports, will house some 300 horses over 3 2-story stable buildings at the end of Caulfield Place, which is currently vacant, but within the Hunter Valley Equine Precinct. As I said before, the 2-story configuration will allow for the provision of walkers, treadmills, wash bays, sand rolls, and any other ancillary facilities as part of this application. But it will also provide some important public domain upgrades to local roads, to the water, to sewerage, and other essential services that will service this development and also help to service some of the surrounding equine precinct. This proposal does provide for 300 horses. It will provide some much needed employment opportunities for local workers, for trainers, for strappers, and for any other people either directly or indirectly involved in the racing industry. We have reviewed the report. We have read the conditions of consent. We have no issues with the report or conditions. We would like to thank Matt Pringle and his team and the external consultants for working with us. This has been a fairly long journey, and we think we're coming to the end of it. We agree with the conditions, we agree with the recommendations, and we commend it to the councillors for approval.
Thank you very much, councillors. Any councillors got questions? Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your presentation. Yes, it certainly seems that if this comes to fruition, that it will be certainly a great complex. I have a couple of questions. There being, especially from Racing New South Wales, there are no animal welfare issues. I'm asking that question. And what about the accommodation for the expected employees? Is there any idea of what you would the employees that would take place that would be needed to run that place? Could you give an idea of that, please?
In terms of the amount of employees, it's estimated there will be a trainer, at least the head trainer, and then say 3 to 4 employees of that head trainer. The head trainer will typically take up some 50 boxes. So you'd be looking at potential employment of some 15 to 20 direct employees in that area. And of course, a whole lot more indirectly that are associated with the industry, be it for loading, hay, food processing, waste processing, and all those employees will be housed in the local Scone area, it is anticipated. The proposal doesn't specifically provide any residential accommodation because the zoning just doesn't allow for it.
Any more councillors got a question? Councillor Williamson.
Yeah, if I could, please, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your presentation there, David. And I myself work in the thoroughbred industry and have strong support for the industry. I was curious about your discussion on animal welfare there, like Councillor Campbell, and wonder if you could speak to the animal welfare advantages that you see coming from the design with the 2-storey building. And just second part to that, the 2-storey building seems a little curious to me, and I just wonder about the logistics of training from the upstairs and the added time and how your trainers, the feedback you've got from trainers from Racing New South Wales. I wonder if you could speak to that, please, David.
Sure. In terms of the 2-storey configuration, it is a relatively new configuration for Australia. It is done a little bit overseas. There are some 2-storey stables, I think at Rose Hill, that we went and had a look at before. Really, in terms of the 2-storey configuration, it doesn't change too much when compared to a single story, because there is a graded ramp that leads up to the top story training boxes. So nothing much really changes in terms of the accessibility and ease of access for horses or trainers. But in terms of the 2-storey configuration, the design has been specifically undertaken via our architects, who have looked at the animal welfare. I can't remember the report number 3, I think it is, specifically deals with horses, and it talks about ventilation and requiring high levels of ventilation, which requires higher floor to ceiling heights and just larger boxes when compared to some of the other sort of single-storey developments that are in and around the Scone precinct at the moment, which will, what we say, enhance the animal welfare by providing bigger and better boxes.
Okay, Councillor Watts.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation, David. A couple of things. Looks like a fantastic facility, and I think in the right place, being the horse capital of Australia. Just a couple of questions about goodwill for small business owners already using the area out there in relation to the existing users using the racecourse. Just like some feedback on how they will access the racecourse. I know that it's written into the project already, but yeah, if we could just have that feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, we have had some discussions with some of the surrounding people, stable owners in the precinct. They were the ones that provided written submissions to this application. The Scone Racecourse CEO and our team have had discussions with them, and the basic premise of access this development will not block any access to the racecourse. Whilst the access will be slightly different to the current informal access, which is provided over private properties, there is still plenty of access available coming down Caulfield Place and then linking up with Randwick Way, which takes you down to the racecourse, both for horses and for vehicles or people using the racetrack.
No further questions? Okay, thanks, David. We'll be a little bit before we get to your part of the agenda, but yeah, feel free to stop online. Okay, I'm going to call now on ESC 2.3 DA 55/2020. Commercial alterations, additions, service departments and cafe, Mr. David Cassens.
Thanks for the opportunity to have briefly talk about this item, modification of the DA in respect of the Golden Fleece. The application modifies council's original consent was issued at the end of November 2020. I really believe that this application now presented represents an improved design in a number of matters, albeit quite subtle throughout. I don't have any in-depth presentation. My attendance is essentially to address any questions that may come up in discussion. Having said that, I feel it's worth noting a few of the positive outcomes that will come from the approval of the application and subsequent completion of construction. The application represents an investment around $4 million and going up with prices like everything else. Completion of the work will see an additional 41 serviced units available for the community, tourist visitors, etc., in the centre of town. It'll be a significant improvement to the Kelly and Liverpool streetscape to see this iconic building finally restored in a way that's complementary and respectful of the heritage listing of the building. Improved formalised car parking for guests at the rear of the premises will be certainly an advantage. And on this point, we note and accept the council's conditioned a contribution towards a deficit in car parking for this of 2 spaces. We'll be interested to see council's plans for provision for additional car parking in the central business district area, which I'm sure will benefit many. It's creation of additional employment opportunities for management of the apartments, the cleaning and services, and the hospitality staff that will be involved. It's also opportunities for local builders and tradies to be involved with the construction work. That's, of course, subject to a tender process. The owner of the building is committed to this project and, subject to obtaining relevant construction and approvals, is optimistically looking forward to commence building work in the second half of 2023. It's not a matter of getting a consent and sitting on it. He's ready to go as soon as possible. We appreciate the D&E Committee's support of the staff recommendation to conditionally approve the application and look forward to council endorsing the support of the committee and its staff members. Thanks.
David, just hanging around there for councillors. I'll just make one quick comment. Can't wait to see that building up and running.
Agree.
Councillors? No questions? Thanks, Dave.
Thanks very much.
Okay, councillors, move over to page 4 of your agenda, which is the ordinary council meeting held on the 30th. No, I've missed one. No, I haven't. Yep. Ordinary council meeting held on the 30th of January 2023. Someone move. No, it's next one. Mr. Burns. Someone move. Move Councillor Clout. second. Don't be shy, councillor Campbell. Questions, comment, discussion
I'll
around it?
just make a comment on it, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't actually at the meeting because I was unwell and so put in an apology. However, it notes that councillor Flaherty was absent from the meeting, yet down on page, I'm just looking for it now. Yeah, it was page 4 of 3 and it's item G.01.5. It has councillor Flaherty as voting for the Dartbrook Coal Mine Planning Agreement.
Thanks, Ms. I'll get the GM just to explain that situation, please.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you to councillor Burns. Yes, that is an error. Unfortunately, our software doesn't handle absentees very well. It assumes that a councillor is either in attendance or sent an apology. So it doesn't account for absences. What has happened in this instance is that because councillor Flaherty was absent from that meeting without an apology, it hadn't picked up in the recording of the voting that she was actually not at the meeting. So we'll make that correction. And if the council's happy to, I guess, adopt the minutes with that amendment, we'll sort that out.
So councillor Clout, councillor Campbell, you happy with those, that small amendment? Okay, all in favour? Against? Carried. Disclosure of interests, Mr. GM.
Mr. Mayor, I've got 2 disclosures of interest. The first from councillor Burns in regard to item ESC 2.2, the development application for takeaway food and drink premises at 2 Mackay Street, Scone. He's declaring a pecuniary interest as his family owns property adjacent to the proposed development, and he will leave the room and not have any involvement in the decision making. The second is from councillor Watts in regard to item G 2.3, the cultural activity grants for 2022-2023. She is declaring a non-pecuniary, non-significant interest as she is the manager of the Scone Neighbourhood Resource Centre, but she will nonetheless leave the room and not have any involvement in that decision.
Thank you, Mr. GM. Okay, council, move over to page 10, SCR 02.1. We'll do these individually. Just the first dot point 1 to adopt the minutes. Going to move up. Move councillor Watts. Second, councillor Campbell. Questions, comment, discussion. All in favour? Show of hands. Against? Carried. Dot point 2. Move councillor Burns. Second, councillor Williamson. Any questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Williamson.
I was just going to quickly make a comment. It was good to read through. I wasn't at this committee meeting, but I see there the rural community expectation of the delivery of their water points for the 3 villages has been met through this committee, which is really pleasing for Wingen, Parkville, and
We're on environmental services, councillor Williamson. You might have jumped.
I've got that back to front, and I'm sorry, councillors. I'm sorry, man.
That's okay.
But that comment refers to the last one. Then
$10 fine. Thank you.
I'll come back.
Okay, so we've got a mover and a seconder. Councillor McPhee, you got your light on, yeah.
Sorry, which one are we up to?
Number 2,
Two.
dot point 2 of the environmental community services,
Not that one.
the childcare centre.
No.
No. Okay. All in favour, show of hands. Or against? Motion is carried. Councillor Burns, you've got an interest in this one. Okay, councillor, dot point 3 in front of you is the application for the takeaway foods. Move the recommendation by councillor Campbell, second. Councillor McPhee. Questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, I can look, it's a bit disappointing really, but I believe that the reasons, if they are addressed, I'd like to see them to be addressed on this thing, but at this stage, I agree that it should be refused. And if they the reasons for the given attachment 3, I think that they need to address those. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor McPhee, your light's on again. You speaking? No? No more questions, comment, discussion? Show of hands as for the recommendation. Collison, Williamson, McPhee, Mackenzie, Clout and Campbell for, against councillor Watts. The motion is carried as is. Can you someone bring councillor Burns back in, please? Councillor Burns, that dot point 3 was as per the recommendation. Okay, councillor, down to dot point 4. The modification of development consent. Move councillor Campbell, second councillor Burns.
Could I make an amendment, please?
Amendment.
Just for the ground floor general arrangement, it actually should be review D, and it should be the 2nd of December 2022.
Okay, councillors, you happy with that? Do mover and the seconder? Okay, any more questions, comment, discussion? Show of hands, all in favour? That's carried in the affirmative. Down to dot point 5. Move councillor Campbell, second councillor Watts. Any questions, comment, discussion? Show of hands, all in favour? Motion is carried. Okay, councillors, we move over to page 40, SCR 02.2 is infrastructure services. A mover, move councillor Campbell, second councillor Clout. Any questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 45 is the Corporate Services Committee. The mover, councillor Williamson, second councillor Mackenzie. Any questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Councillor Williamson, we missed your infrastructure services, but are you okay with it? You more or less told us what your issue was.
I think we can go back on the record. I don't need to repeat myself for the sake of everybody here.
Okay, over to page 54, Community Advisory Committee for Aberdeen District. Got a mover. Move councillor McPhee, second councillor Williamson. Questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 58, Community Advisory Committee of Scone District. Move councillor Watts, second councillor Burns. Any questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 63, the Upper Hunter County Council Weeds. Note the minutes by councillor Watts. Seconder, councillor Clout. Questions, comment, discussion, councillor Williamson.
Just make a comment on weeds, and one issue we've seen a lot of in the countryside this year, St John's Ward, and it's a really large problem within the Upper Hunter district, and I wonder going forward if council and the Upper Hunter County Council would be interested in helping finding funding to subsidise the cost of treatment of noxious weed for landholders across the Upper Hunter, as this is becoming quite a significant burden to many producers.
Thank you, councillor Williamson. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I agree with the comments of councillor Williamson. It is not at this stage a large problem, but it is becoming a large problem. You only have to go a little further west to the mid-western Shire, and yeah, look, it's everywhere. In fact, I was across at Mudgee this morning and noted very much. We have my fellow councillor council Oars. We did bring this up at the Weeds meeting last week. But I have still said, and I've asked many times, and I believe that the spraying regime is not keeping on top of it. We need to get a biological control thing, and I think that probably if that could be done, included in what we're saying with the spraying regime, because it just keeps coming back each year. Some of it's been there, especially in the grazing areas. They're the main problems. On a farming area, you can control it and control it quite well, but not on grazing areas, especially in some of the areas that you can't get there very well. So I'd be happy to include that as part, or could I move? Could I ask that that be included in the motion, please?
Most certainly, councillor Campbell. I think integrated pest management is a wonderful concept and should be embraced in this. So I'm more than happy.
Thank you.
Councillor Campbell, that was only for notation, but I'm sure between us we can make sure that gets back, and any councillor that wishes to send one of our representatives, go down to that Weeds Authority and email on any issue they've got, we can certainly table it for you. So all in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 68, D02.1 is the development application, horse stables complex with auxiliary facilities. Got a mover, councillor Burns, second councillor McPhee. Any questions, comment, discussion?
Other than to say, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I think these developments, as long as we mentioned regarding the Golden Fleece station motel complex, is just something great for not only Scone but also our area and our shire. And I think that there'll be many spin-offs if this particular development from Racing New South Wales can get up and going. It'll certainly benefit. We'll all benefit no matter where we live in the shire. So I think it's a great complex.
Thank you, councillor Campbell. You worried me there for a minute, but you got it across. Sorry. Any more questions, comment, discussion? All in favour, show of hands. Against? The motion is carried. Over to page 111, G02.1, the 2023 National General Assembly motions for submission. Mover, move councillor Watts, second councillor Williamson. They're coming out of everywhere. Any questions, comment, discussion? Comment, councillor Burns.
Just on point 2 there, Mr. Mayor, the ALGA lobby on their members' behalf a return to a percentage of the national tax revenue. That tax revenue used to be 1%, and it used to flow through to local government areas. I don't think 1% is enough, so let's ask for 3. We might land on 0.5, but the government needs to start helping out local government. It needs to start giving us the money directly and bypass the state government. We know best how to spend our money around our region. We don't need someone from Sydney or the Northern Beaches or Wollongong telling us how to look after our roads, how to make sure that we're taking care of our constituency. That's our job. We get elected the same as they do. So please, our federal counterparts, listen to us, give us the money directly, and we'll do a better job with it than boring tunnels through boggy marshlands and underneath the middle of Sydney to make more congestion in other areas.
Thank you, councillor Burns. No more questions, councillor Williamson.
I will just, I just note we've got a few in the planning space here tonight, and I will just like to note that number 1, that the Australian Local Government Association advocate for a parliamentary inquiry into the New South Wales planning portal, including the cost to council administering the portal. I'll also say that's the cost to the individual, to the builders, and to our residents of the Upper Hunter.
So, councillor, you wish to add that?
No,
You just a comment, just a comment. Thank you. No more questions, comment, discussion. All in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 114, administration of the 2024 local government election. Move councillor Campbell, second councillor Clout.
So, Mr. Chair, I think you missed a point. 111, page 111.
No, we just did that, didn't we? Okay, another $10. Okay, 114, we had a mover by councillor Campbell. Second by councillor Clout. Any questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 118, cultural activity grants. Got a move of the. Oh, sorry. Okay, got a mover. We've all looked at the grants. Move councillor Williamson, second councillor McKenzie. Questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Williamson.
I will quickly make a comment here. I think there was a very worthy one here that's possibly going to miss out just because of the technical nature of it. But under Murrundi Matters, 3 visits of a speech pathologist. I think that's a really important service within our community, and perhaps we could look for alternate funding for this type of service.
Thank you, councillor Williamson. Any more questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Clout.
Yeah, I'd just like to agree with councillor Williamson. I think it is deserving of funding. If we could try to find some funding for that, it would be good. Thanks.
Thank you. No more questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Carried. Bring councillor Watts back in, please. Councillor Watts, that has been moved as per the recommendation. You do very well, councillor Watts, with grants. Okay. 1, 2, 3, council expenses and facility policy. Got to move councillor Burns, second councillor McPhee. Any questions, comment, discussion? Oh yeah, we need the councillors move the percentage. Is any councillor Burns? 80 and 100 as per the. Yes, okay, you happy with that, councillor McPhee? Any question?
I'll just make a comment on it, Mr. Mayor. Look, if this wasn't moved, we would be the only employer in the country that if we didn't turn up to work, we still get paid. You know, and as an employer myself and an employee, I'm sure my boss, I know that I won't pay my guys if they don't turn up, and I'm sure my boss isn't going to give me. The constituency of this, the Upper Hunter, demand of their councillors the best they expected of us. So this is what we've got to do. And if we're not turning up, then we don't get paid. Simple as that.
Any more questions, comment? Let's make a comment. It's not very hard, councillors, to send an apology in. If you do that, we can all move forward without too much hassle. So all in favour? Against? Motion is carried. Over to page 142, policies for review. Got a mover. Councillor Clout. A seconder. Councillor McPhee. Questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against? Motion is carried. Over to page 149, the Scone Water Treatment Plant. Moved councillor Burns, second. Councillor Williamson. Questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Campbell, you don't have to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sure that you are tired of listening to my voice. However, sometimes I tire also. However, I just like to say this, that some of the joint projects that we can discuss with an adjoining shire, which I think is not only helps us alleviate a bit of the funding, because we're always seem to be looking for funding, but also is good that it can benefit so many more people with this joint facility that we're perhaps discussing at this time. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, councillor Campbell. Any more questions, comment? No, all in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 153, notice of motions, support for small businesses. Move councillor Burns. A seconder, councillor Clout. Councillor Burns, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. So not very long ago, the Scone Chamber of Commerce and Industry put out a call over the media for the next state government. We've added in the federal government because they should have some skin in the game too, to assist small businesses struggling with the rising operating costs. Now, what does that mean to us? As a council, we run businesses, but we don't run them on the same playing field as others in some cases. So what we can do is make representations to the next state government to provide rate relief to businesses at no cost to council. So it would actually be that the state government picks up the rates for those businesses. We know during COVID that there was rate relief to the owners of the buildings, but that wasn't necessarily passed on. And there was cases where it wasn't passed on at all. So the actual building owner gets it, but the business owner who's struggling to stay open is still paying full tote. We want that not to happen. We've got inflation, we've got other issues going on. So this motion just puts it that we're going to join that relationship with the Scone Chamber and actually go to the state and federal at our availability. We're not running down there tomorrow, but you know, when we have those conversations with those members, we'll be saying, hey, you got to look after our people. That includes farmers, that includes the equine industry, that includes small landowners that are actually trying to make a living. It's not just about Kelly Street. It's not just about Bennington Street. It's not about Main Street up in Murrurundi. It's about everyone who runs business. Small business is just that. So we want to help everyone. And that's how we could do it, is through rate relief, through state government grants.
Thank you, councillor Burns. No more questions, comment, discussion. All in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Over to page 154, notice of motion, council's attendance at meetings and briefings. And a move councillor McPhee, seconder, councillor Clout. Any questions, comment, discussion? Councillor McPhee.
So this motion is that council include councillor attendance in briefings, council meetings and council committee meetings, as well as LG Hub activity in the quarterly KPI report at the Corporate Services Committee meetings. The Corporate Services report is to give a full performance report of the organisation as a whole. One area of performance that is not being measured is that of councillors. The single greatest measure of a councillor's performance is attendance at briefings, council meetings and council committee meetings. Staff have recently provided council meeting and council committee attendance records. A question with notice this month is to provide information about attendance and briefings. When a councillor hasn't attended a briefing since April, looks to have read papers for only 4 meetings of the year and has attended only about 60% of all expected meetings in 2022 and 0% of all ordinary meetings in 2023, I believe the ratepayers have a right to know this. It is also good to show the commitment given by other councillors with their full attendance or thereabouts. We have an obligation to the ratepayer to fulfil our role with the utmost commitment. I would like to make a comment. Which is the greater disservice to the ratepayer? Failure to attend meetings or attending meetings and making uninformed decisions on the fate of our own ratepayers?
Thank you, councillor McPhee. Any other questions, comment, discussion? I'll put the motion as is. Those in favour? Against? The motion is carried. Over to page 158. No, sorry, 155. Sorry, councillor Watts. Notice of motion, need for right turn at Scone Cemetery. Have I got a mover? Councillor Watts, a seconder, councillor Clout. Do you wish to speak, councillor Watts?
I won't say much because I think it's just common sense that we should have a right-hand turn there. It's already a stressful time, a sad time for people, and we're lining up on our road to turn right into a cemetery access. Not only is the access not there for a right-hand turn lane, but we've also got a water hole that we have to get through as well. Even during a drought, it's still full of water. So if we can certainly approach our member for that, or a better alternative is an adjacent road going through on the railway line, it would be very appreciative. And it just makes common sense that they would say, yes, it's a safety issue and it's bloody dangerous. So I look forward to their reply.
Thank you, councillor Watts. Any other questions, comment, discussion? No.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just a question. Failing the right-hand turn, is there any other way of accessing that cemetery other than taking that right-hand turn that's safe? Is there? I'm asking the question.
Mr. Pringle, would you like to answer that, please?
Through Mr. Mayor, no, not currently. So I think that's the other part of the motion, was to look at an alternative access road adjoining the railway line.
Okay, all in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 156. Remember, questions with notice. Got a mover. Councillor McPhee, a seconder. Councillor Clout. Any questions? Well, we can't really debate it, so any clarification? Councillor McPhee.
I just have a question on the $18,000 that we've had to spend on legal fees regarding investigations on councillors. How many kilometres of cycleway roughly would that have provided?
I'll just take that as a comment, Mr. General Manager, or would you wish to?
Mr. Mayor, we're currently constructing cycleway at about, or footpath at about $200 to $250 per metre. So less than 100 metres, probably 75 is probably a guess. I can get the calculations for you if you want.
Okay, no need for any more clarification. All in favour? Against? Carried. Over to page 158 is just correspondence, councillors. You can see that. I think it's a great idea, Mr. GM, to put this correspondence from our particularly our politicians in, so that the people from the public can see. So have we got a mover? Move, councillor Mackenzie. Second, councillor Williamson. Any questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Williamson.
I think it's Mr. Mayor, I think it's a great initiative too from the General Manager. I'd like to speak to dot point 2 on the waste. Sorry, Lee. And the letter from the Honourable James Griffin MP. I'd like to thank Upper Hunter Shire's General Manager and State Member for Upper Hunter, Dave Lizelle, for following up this important topic, the S88 Domestic Waste Management Service Charge. For some reason, this seems to be something that I'm passionate about. I don't know why. As pointed out by the Minister, the New South Wales Government has invested $2.3 billion in environmental programs, exceeding the revenue received from their S88 waste levy, which is fantastic. He then states of the Waste Less, Recycle More program, under the strategy, working with local government is pivotal in creating circular economy opportunities and ensuring waste is sustainably managed, from increasing the collection and processing of organic waste streams to tackle litter and illegal dumping in public spaces. We've gone through our FOGO, but I'd like to put to the Minister that the Upper Hunters Economic Circle is incomplete, as we have only received 1/3 of the levy in return for our significant community efforts to comply with this ever-burdening regulation. This means that the residents of the Upper Hunter Shire have been subsidising the rest of the state's environmental programs. I look forward to the review of the waste levy this year and strongly support the Upper Hunter Shire Council and Hunter Joint Organisation's position of the full return of the S88 levy to the Shire in a regional economy that can't afford it. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Williamson. So we'll just Take that as on note. No more questions, comment?
Can
Councillor
I just add to that, that the Upper Hunter is at this point, Newcastle, Maitland, Dungog, Singleton, Muswellbrook do not have FOGO. We're the only ones doing it. I'm not sure about Cessnock, which is why I left them out, but we're leading the pack here. Yet we're getting shortchanged as the councillor brought up.
Thank you,
Mr.
Councillor
Mayor.
Burt. Councillor Campbell.
If I may just comment a little, there seems to be a problem, maybe it's out in the west, I don't know, but with this FOGO, because we just don't have enough green waste to fulfill those bins. There just seems to be a bit of a problem there. And I'm not sure whether it can be modified. But I understand that it was a system rolled out by the government, so it was a requirement that Upper Hunter Shire Council comply. But there, I'm not sure. Have we got any figures on just how much waste that from that FOGO bins come in from out around the Merrill Casslis area? Because there just seems to be complaints continuously about that it was just not being used because they don't have enough clippings and material to go in them.
Mr. Pringle, you must take that on notice.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll take that on notice.
Thank you. I think, Mr. Campbell, it's a learning curve.
So Mayor, I have a comment.
Councillor McPhee.
Contrary to what councillor Campbell says, I fill my green bin every week. So there are some people who are using it and I hardly have anything to put in my red or my yellow bin because my yellow bin, hardly in my red because I'm recycling. And I'm using the green bin as required. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat. And this was a legal requirement and we're supposed to do it. So it's not like we shouldn't have done it. I think maybe we just need to review what people think needs to go in which bin.
Thank you. No further.
Yeah, look, I don't dispute any of that comment.
You've
But
spoken.
I'm just wondering whether it's something that's not happening out there.
Take it on
in the
notice,
west.
Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. Okay.
All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, councillors, that's the end of our open council. Thank you those who sat through. We are quite welcome to sit outside. We've got 100 odd pages of confidential, but I'd imagine you'll move on. So can someone move me please into close? Move Councillor Watts. Second, Councillor McKenzie. All in favour? Against? Carried.